Comments for the week ending November 13th from the beef farmers of Ontario. There were 389 head of fed steers and heifers sold through auction markets last week, down 4 head from the previous week. Fed steers averaged 305.91 per hundredweight, up 215 per hundred, and fed heifers averaged 306.09 per hundredweight, up 380 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday that fed steers and heifers sold fully. By Thursday, fed steers and heifers sold $2 to $3 per hundredweight lower. In Ontario, dress sales were reported at $5.15 to $5.20 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $5 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. For the week ending November 1st, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports to the U.S. were 4,706 head, 28% above last year and 49% above the 5-year average. Year-to-date, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports were steady with last year. Cull cow receipts sold through auction markets last week were 2,439 head, down 90 head from the previous week. Cows averaged 174.18 per hundredweight, up 287 per hundred. Beef cows averaged 194.17 per hundredweight, up 11.09 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday that fed cows sold actively at higher prices. By Thursday, fed cows sold at steady prices. Total receipts were 11,782 head last week. Receipts of 6,931 stocker and feeder cattle sold through Ontario auction markets, down 1,917 head from the previous week. Auction markets reported on Friday, November 7th, that calves sold steady on an easier market. Angus cattle sold steady and yearlings sold actively on an easier trade. By Thursday, a medium quality offering of stockers had light calves selling fully steady and heavy calves selling barely steady. The Quebec electronic market prices were not available at press time. Last week, Alberta fed steers and heifers closed the week trading at $2.96 and $2.93 per hundredweight respectively, down $5 per hundredweight from the previous week. Dress sales were reported from $4.93 to $4.95 per hundredweight delivered, $2 to $10 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. Live sales were reported at $2.89 per hundredweight, FOB the feedlot. Buying interest was noted from all Western Canadian packers. Cattle that traded were scheduled for delivery throughout the month of December. U.S. interest was also noted with light volumes of Western Canadian fed cattle marketed south. These cattle will be priced off the 5-area average. By Thursday, November 13th, light trade developed with dress sales reported from $4.93 to $4.95 per hundredweight delivered, steady with the previous week. For the week ending November 8th, Western Canadian fed processing was 30,148 head, 20% lower than last year. The U.S. cash cattle trade last week saw dress sales in Iowa and Nebraska from $3.50 to $3.55 per hundredweight, $5 to $10 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. Live sales in the north were at $2.25 per hundredweight, $4 to $5 per hundredweight softer. Sales in the northern U.S. are at the lowest point since May. Sales in Texas and Kansas were at mostly $2.28 per hundredweight, $3 per hundredweight weaker. Last week's cattle processing was estimated at 576,000 head, 16,000 head larger than the previous week. This is Jamie Kerr with the Beef Farmers of Ontario's Market Information Report.